Beautiful people. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Dr. Dominique Reese here, president of Reese Financial Services, where I'm the chief financial coach, consultant, and strategist. Now, today I want you to have grace as I start this message because we're on the journey to spend the next, what is it, 23, 24 days um, changing your financial life, truly changing your financial life. But it's going to take work, and the work has to first start here. Mindset is important. It's where everything is born. And in order for us to really understand it, understand ourselves rather, and our relationship with our money, we kind of got to look outside ourselves. We have to look at those who raised us. We have to look at those who took care of us. And I find myself sometimes thinking, man, if only my mama knew. If only my mama knew, right? Because I would imagine she would share more if she knew more about any particular topic. But when you think about the people who've raised you, your mother, your grandmother, your grandparents, your father, your mom and dad, your aunties, whomever, your adopted parents, your caretakers, for the most part, God willing, we all had a caretaker, right? And some of us are now caretakers, right? Whatever role you might play, whatever hat you might wear. So there's always a dot to connect here because they were who we are now. And even if you're not a parent, you might care for someone. You may have a responsibility to care for someone. So as you think about what your mom, caretaker, dad, grandma, grandpa did or did not share with you about money, finances, you think, well, dang, why didn't they? And you may have some thoughts about why, or you very well may know why. But let's think about what that is doing to you right now. How is their lack of sharing showing up in your financial life right now? Is it in the way you think? And if it is in the way you think, which I know it is, but I'm asking you to be reflective, how is it showing up in what you do or don't do? How is it showing up with your actual relationship with your money? Especially now that we're in this digital age where we very rarely see or have cash. So money can be so abstract. It can be just numbers on a screen at any given time. You may not necessarily tangibly feel it. I attracted a nickel the other day, and it's so wild because when I saw it, I had I had crossed that path several times in the same time period. And then I saw it after a while. But I was like, "Dang, that's a nickel." It's all shiny and it's almost as if I hadn't seen a nickel in a while, you know? So it's interesting that money, the actual tool, is just the tool, the currency. We may or may not have been taught about this. So when you think about your relationship with it and how you got this relationship, yes, Larry, you got to think about your people. You got to think about your caretakers. And just imagine, I mean, this gets so deep, but just imagine here we are trying to figure it out. We're going to talk about the figure it out syndrome another time. But here we are trying to figure it out as we build towards financial freedom, which then leads us to wealth building. Think about their experience. Think about who poured into them financially. And that's going to give you a different level of understanding, which is the way in which you identify and do something about your financial life. It's just having understanding. This is one of four ways in which you shift your mindset about money. Powerful, simple, not easy. Powerful, simple, not easy. It's simple because I just told you what it is. Understanding, yep, that's the key. That's the second key. Now, everything in divine order. So obviously, you're like, well, what's the first one? I'll give it to you tomorrow, or in divine order. And I was led to this step first. While it's the second step, it's the first thing I want to share with you because I think we can start to activate this immediately. Because when you think about, again, if you are them today, they were in a position then in raising us, right? Raising these little human people. I like to like take it real practical. Like these little human people, they only know what they know, and they only know what was deposited into them by their caretakers. So imagine, and then imagine the time period, right? How old am I? I am 38. Yeah, I'm 38, born in 84. My mom was 20, I think 23 when she had me. 23, right? And then I think about my grandparents and what they poured into her about money, right? So that's what you got to do. You got to think about who poured into your caretakers about money. And I'm sure, for the most part, they were doing the best they could with what they had, right? And not just from a true, like, physical perspective, but from a, a mental mindset perspective. If they only knew so much, then when they go in their mental file, in the file for finance, and whatever they pull out of that file is informing their decision making, their financial decision making. Whatever's in that file is the best they got. So who was depositing into their file, right? So this is why, yes, Larry, the generational mindsets, we're carrying them. And I'm going to frame this around your financial operating system because we get operating systems. You have Android, you have Apple, you have Microsoft, you have Google's, you and the other guys. You know them. We have operating systems, right? And we operate a system financially. So when you think about you being born with an operating system, again, I like to say, you had things downloaded before you even knew what to do with them. Like when we get our computers, there's programs already downloaded on there. Oh, we bought it and it came to us with things already downloaded, things already taking up space. And then it becomes our responsibility to identify what those things are, see if we're even using them, see if they're taking up too much space, and if we need to delete them, remove them, uninstall them from our operating system. Same way with our money. Truly unlocking our ability to achieve financial freedom and build towards that on the numbers side, for our numbers to reflect freedom, starts with our mindsets reflecting freedom. But in order to shift from the scarce and the lack mindset, and even like the comfortable mindset, you gotta do this part of shifting. Shifting is a 4-step process, and it's this second step, understanding, that matters most. Now, what do we mean by understanding? It means understanding where your thoughts originate from. Where does your money mindset originate from? And in order to think about that, we got to think about our caretakers. We got to think about what they deposited into us. Then you need to think about what was deposited into them. So now you understand, well, they didn't have it. That's why I don't have it. And what I do have is what they knew. It really gives you a certain level of grace for your people, right? Because we all are ideally just doing the best we can with what we have. And it used to frustrate the hell out of me to be like, why didn't y'all say this? Why didn't y'all tell me that? And there would be frustration around that. There would be anger around that. There would be disappointment around that. Because then I would think about how far along we would be, right? How far along I would be, the mistakes I wouldn't have had to make, you know, the money I would have still had, the savings I could, like all the things. But then in realizing why I operate the way I operate and realizing why my relationship with money is the way it is, some of it is very dependent upon what was deposited into me by my caretakers. And it's not to bash them, it's to understand. Understanding is powerful. It is a powerful state when you understand where your mindsets originate from. So that's the challenge for today. And what I know is that when you understand, it impacts what you do. Now, we know that saying know better, do better, right? And we also know that's not always true. And that's why practicing excellence becomes a thing. Because when you know better, you do better because you're practicing excellence. But practicing excellence is a decision that you have to make. So if you don't make a decision to practice excellence, then you will know better and you will not do better. Okay? So everything in divine order. Let's get the understanding first. Let's get some grace around our financial mistakes, our hiccups, our mishaps, because frankly, they happened because you lacked an understanding of something financially. When we don't meet the mark in our financial lives, it's simply because you don't know something as well as you thought you knew it. And we manage money every day. Every day starts in our financial decisions. Am I going to buy this? Am I going to pay this? And then you buy it or you pay it. Right there, that's a level of management. But maybe you didn't know you should pay it 3 days before or 7 days after, right? To boost the score or to get it within the 30-day cycle. Or maybe you didn't know that you should keep a certain amount in your bank account for, like I call it, the when I need it, I got it fund. Because who wants more emergencies? So we call it the when I need it, I got it fund. Maybe you don't know that there's value in that because you really never saw it. And you hear it all the time. You hear it, but you can't receive what you haven't made room for. Hence the importance of uninstalling things so you can then make room to receive the things that you keep hearing, but it hasn't been downloaded. It's just kind of flashing out there like, okay, here's the software you need to download, right? You need this, but it hasn't been downloaded yet. That's why you haven't taken action on it yet. So part of that is understanding where your behaviors, your mindsets originate. Where do they originate? So spend some time today thinking about your financial history from a mindset perspective. We've heard it, right? Money don't grow on trees. I'm not an ATM. I can't afford that. Your father will get it, because a lot of times in certain households, men ran the finances. Your father will get it. Ask your dad. You got to think about your upbringing today around money. What did you see? What did you hear? And what did you experience? Because that's typically how we learn, from what we see, what we hear, and what we do. our experiences through that. Did you see your parents balancing checkbooks? Did you see your parents taking you to the bank with them? Or did they always go handle the business, adult stuff, right? Did you not see any of that? Did you see them max out credit cards? Did you see them avoid phone calls? Did you see them having meetings with other family about money? That I've never seen that. I've never seen my family talk about money except for in a crisis or trying to solve a problem. But like just hey, it's Saturday, y'all coming over for the meeting? Yeah, we talking about making some money moves this week, this month, this year. Y'all coming over, right? Yeah, it's an hour. We just go talk for an hour. Like, could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? I can. I mean, I love that thought, but could you imagine that? So, as we think about building towards financial freedom and we take it seriously, let's first take a step back and think about where our mindsets, our thoughts, actions, and behaviors really are thoughts, words, and actions, where they originate. What were the thoughts, words, and actions of those who raised you? And start to connect the dots around how what they did and were taught, and how that's connected to you and what you do and what you know. And then it becomes your responsibility, right? To pour into, to deposit into those who come after you. So having that meeting where you are meeting once a month with your family to discuss money, money opportunities, the budget for the month, investment opportunities, getting rid of the debt, whatever. But the meeting is happening. That can happen, starting with you. But before you do that, begin to examine what got you here. So you know where you don't want to go. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to stop that. We want to change that because that was operating in me from them. That ain't me. I didn't raise my hand for that mindset. I didn't raise my hand for that behavior that was downloaded into me. Now that I recognize it, I'm going to disassociate myself with it. I'm going to start, stop, change, or continue this behavior. And then here's what we're going to do moving forward. It's like a synopsis of the 4 steps: the awareness, understanding, um, disassociation, and then the reconditioning. And we're going to talk about that this week. So go out today, be productive, be prosperous, and be understanding of your financial past. All right, that's all I got for you. Have a great day, beautiful people. Peace.